Welcome to the Tale Slate. I'm Ben Stacey, and today I'm joined with John Mokedanz from Everything Pop Culture, which is where we're actually shooting this episode, and Brian Trerice, a sci-fi fan and comic book fan. And we're going to be talking about Star Wars The Force Awakens, which just came out on digital and Blu-ray. And in it, there are some deleted scenes. I'm sure there were many more deleted scenes. They only put a few on the thing, but I want to talk about each scene, what's in that scene, and whether or not we think it was a good idea that it was removed, or should it have been in the film, and if so, why? So, the first scene that we're going to talk about is in the village that the stormtroopers attack on Jakku right at the beginning, and it's a scene in which Finn, with the blood marks on his helmet, goes around a corner and encounters a woman holding a baby. And he pulls up his gun, and there's a bit of a look back and forth, Finn deciding what to do, and he decides not to shoot her. Yeah. I thought it was a pretty cool scene, a pretty powerful scene, and I think it should have been left in. Mm-hmm. It seemed to add to his motivation to defect as a stormtrooper. I didn't think we had quite enough of that in the cut that we saw. Thoughts?
No, I agree with you. I think they needed more motivation for him to defect. Mm-hmm. And if we discussed it a little bit beforehand, if it was after the order was made to kill all the villagers, and then he has a choice not to kill this woman and child, then it makes it even more powerful for his character's development. Mm-hmm. So you can see that I just didn't think it was shot well.
I disagree. It worked for me completely.
I think the motivation should have been there. They should have just reshot it in a more emotional way, because it just got kind of awkward. In my mind, it's just like okay, pregnant pause, lovers in a dangerous time.
Yeah, they should have tightened it up, so it's not just them staring at each other silently. It should have been where Finn runs into her, pulls his gun, and she's frozen, and he looks at her, he looks at the baby, and then he's like, and you can't really see it on his face, obviously, but there'd be that moment of, oh my God, what am I doing? And then he says, then he just goes run. From the scene. Yeah, but it took too long.
It took too long.
It just was this long, pregnant pause.
No, they should have.
And it took too long to get to the point.
They should have put it in there because he needed that development.
Yeah.
As a character, So
a verdict on the scene in general, should it
should have
been
in.
Okay,
should have been in, though. A little short.
Modifications. Okay.
Modifications.
Okay.
The next scene we have, I like the scene. I think it's a really cool scene, but I understand why they didn't put it in the film. It's a scene where looks like an officer or someone in the rebel base, or resistance base, I guess it would be called, receives a message about Poe going missing. They find the X-Wing blown up in the village in Jakku, no sign of BB-8, and he takes that message to General Organa, Leia, and she talks about, we got to find that, and we got to find that BB-8. Don't underestimate a droid, and Jawat's fast C-3PO. I thought it was a really neat scene, but I understand why it's not in there, because it totally would have wrecked the reveal of Leia when she lands and Han sees her. Also would have wrecked the reveal of C-3PO. Mm-hmm. It was too early.
Well, I found it to be a completely pointless scene. It didn't tell you any information that you didn't already.
Yeah, it was redundant.
Knew, and yeah, you're right. It would have just ruined the reveal. Mm-hmm. There was no point to the scene. In fact, it would have been worse to have it in.
I mean, if they didn't show, like Ryan said, if they didn't show that stuff of his X-Wing being destroyed and the missing droid, and they opened with that, it would have been a little bit exciting. Who's this guy?
Yeah.
Why is everybody looking for this droid? Mm-hmm. It would have given the audience something to look forward to, but we've already seen it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's redundant.
Yeah, and also, I mean, like I said, I did enjoy that little scene, but yeah, it would have ruined the reveal, and I don't think. Also, unfortunately, it's one of the longer scenes of Carrie Fisher acting in the film, and I think we needed a little bit more of her doing something. But well, we get the next movie for that. There's a short little scene of as they're taking off
For the
to
attack.
go attack,
start
and
killing.
basically just going into light speed. There's a couple of funny lines back and forth. You know, prepare for light speed, and one of the other pilots says, "Is there any other speed?" You know, so but that could have been in or out. I don't care. It was just a little transition scene, so
But
it
you
doesn't
had
bother
a-
me either way.
But you had an alien going Jabba Wabba. You know, that you need to throw that in there
Every once in a while.
every once in a while because it's got to harken back to.
Yeah, well,
It's sort of all the one thing that it kind of annoyed me with The Force Awakens, and I'm glad they cut this out because you can't have. There's always these touchstones back to the previous films,
Yeah.
and it's like, don't underestimate a droid, you know, Jabba Wabba. Like, it gets a little bit too much saccharine, you know.
Yeah,
yeah. Well, that's why I was glad that was
Yeah,
kind
I
of
glad
don't
that
care
was gone.
either way.
pointless.
Then there's a really neat scene where Kylo Ren searches the Millennium Falcon. This will be after it has crashed on the planet. And before, obviously, he runs into Han Solo. He has the line Han Solo, which they give him at another point in the film where he's outside. So who knows where that line was originally? It probably was originally meant to be in the ship. But I thought it was kind of a neat scene seeing him look around the Falcon. This is a ship that he probably grew up on at some point, depending on when Han lost the Falcon. But he probably would have had it when he was a little kid.
But yeah, now for the scene, I think it would have been a little better if it was almost like when he walked through the ship, it was almost like, you know, you could see him going back to his childhood kind of thing, like maybe,
Yeah, that would have been interesting.
you know,
Yeah.
not so saccharine as like dragging his hand across you know, some of the control
That's
panels. or something,
Daddy's chair.
But yeah, but it was the idea of like, you know,
Yeah.
where he might stop and touch a panel, and it's just like, and you realize he's thinking back, he's remembering something, and then you see him pull his hand back or something, you know, something that kind of shows the inner struggle that he's
Yeah,
going on with.
because I
about
mean
Han
that might
Solo.
have galvanized
Yeah.
things a little bit better because it touches on a history from his side. We don't really see that. We see it from
Well, you're told about it by everybody
like
else.
Yeah.
Han Solo and Leia, and but we don't see it from his side. And you know, it might have been. I think it could have added something. It seemed a little long, but like what Brian was talking about, if you had those touches, even if it's just audio where he hears him talking to his dad, or
flashback.
Yeah.
you know,
But the scene as is, because I mean, obviously we're now rewriting these scenes.
no, we are because we're going to make a better movie next time.
But the scene as is, would you like to have seen it in or out? I mean, I
As
don't
is,
think it would
no.
have hurt it being in there.
I think the last shot where they're walking away from the Millennium Falcon and it's embedded in the snow, I think that's all you would have needed.
Maybe, yeah.
Unless you're going to try and put that emotional involvement in.
Yeah. Now, I should point out, you should obviously watch the deleted scenes before you hear us talking about them, so they make a little bit more sense. I'm trying to describe them, but seeing them is much better.
Well, most of them we're deleting anyway, so you don't have to.
That was, yeah, that's right. There's another scene which I'm glad wasn't in there. It's a scene where Rey and Finn are escaping on some kind of snow speeder. I'm guessing this would be after they've blown up the thing and heading back to the forest.
Yeah.
That's the only place I can think.
Well, there
think
was
of it
there was also
sitting.
the scene where remember they left while Chewie and Han were planting the bombs, and then they come
Maybe.
back.
Yeah, maybe, but I would assume they got there at the same time. But anyway, they're being chased by another speeder with some snow troopers in it, and they're shooting at it. And you were talking about that they made a toy
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
of this, and this isn't in the film, so there's a toy that exists of this deleted scene.
So that is huge if you can find it.
Yeah,
somewhere.
if you can find this toy. But the scene itself is probably the best scene in the entire movie, and I don't know why they cut it out.
No, it's not.
It is
It's-
garbage.
It's a
It was
terrible
a
It is garbage.
pointless
terrible,
scene.
terrible scene. I mean, also we were seeing it with unfinished effects.
Yeah.
In the
Yeah. No, well,
scene, so.
finished or not, there was
Yeah, it was
no.
pointless.
But it was I wish they would have had windshields so they could break the glass with their guns, because that would have been even better, or hang out the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, why would they have an open compartment on a frozen world? Like that doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't know. Then there's a scene where Finn is getting medical attention, and Ray is worried, and then the same nurse or doctor that was looking after Chewie tells her that, don't worry, he'll be fine.
Yeah.
It could have been in or out. We get a similar scene in the movie anyways, so I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah. Well, I find again it's like the scene with Princess Leia or General Leia. It would have actually, I think, taken away from the tension, like where, you don't get the scene where it's like, oh, he's going to be okay.
Well,
like,
we
or
all
so.
assume he's going to be fine.
Well, yeah,
so.
you assume it, but they don't say it. Like,
Sure, I'm pretty sure there's a scene where
is
they
there?
do. I think so.
I don't think that they're ever. Well, they don't so much come out like she does here. And it's like, oh, don't worry, your friend will be fine.
Right.
Like that destroys all tension. Then it's like, he'll be all right.
The last scene, I liked it. You guys didn't like it as much. I thought it was a funny scene. It would have been interesting to see where it goes. I'm sure there must have been more to it. It's Han and Finn and Maz and Chewie getting out of the basement of Maz's castle as the stormtroopers come in. They come down into where Rey had been in the tunnels underneath, and they're telling them to drop their weapons. And Han makes Finn put down his weapon. They tell Chewie to put that the furry one, and I was like, "Don't call him that." And he'll put it down. Well, your blaster, put it down. He goes, "It's broken." And it was just, I thought it was a funny little scene. I would have liked to see where it was going. It was
they would
seeing
have
Han
had-
Solo as Han Solo doing his
Shtick.
Doing his
stuff,
shtick.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we didn't see how that ended.
How it ended, so we don't know.
So we don't know.
Yeah, well, to me, again, it was just a dumb idea because it wasn't, to me, very funny, and it just makes the stormtroopers look like a bunch of Keystone Cops. I mean, they're supposed to be the faceless, terrifying army, and they just come across as clowns.
I don't know. I thought it kind of, it kind of plays back to the scene in the original A New Hope where Han Solo was chasing a bunch.
Yeah.
And, that kind of comedy, and then runs into the big bunch and has to turn around. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would have been interested to see where it
To me,
went.
to
I
be
kinda
honest,
liked the
to
scene.
me, I would have expected that to end with them. It's like, drop your weapon. Oh yeah, well, don't worry, it's broken. Zap. Just shoot them all.
it could've.
Shoot them
It
all. Why
could've.
would they? Why did they never shoot the heroes? Because the movie would end. I know that, but it's just then the writers should not put the heroes into that position where it's like there's a chance of them being just wiped out like that. Because it's
Well, I
it's
mean,
ridiculous.
the only way I can see him getting out of this is like, oh yeah, take out his gun and shoot the ceiling above them.
Who
That's
knows?
what I thought
Maybe
was
we
going to
did.
happen.
Maybe
I
we
thought
don't
that's
see
what
the
was
end of
gonna
the scene,
happen,
so
yeah.
we don't know.
But yeah, that's too bad.
I'm hopeful for where that scene was going, so I would have liked to have seen it in.
And I still just wanted to see him wipe them all out.
I don't know anything with Harrison Ford, except for Indiana Jones.
Well,
the
last one
yeah.
The last
that we will
three.
not, no longer speak of.
I only like the first one.
Okay, we're not talking Indiana Jones.
Okay, so there you go.
So it wasn't like the scene with the sword and he shoots him.
Yeah.
I am your father.
But I was a little disappointed they didn't have more deleted scenes. Because there's obviously a lot they probably cut
Probably,
from
yeah.
Star Wars, which I would have liked to have seen. But I don't know, it's neat to see a few of the little ones. So, I mean, that was our thoughts on the scenes that have been deleted that we get to see. And some I would have liked to have seen in, some not so much. And let us know your thoughts. And, feel free to comment below and be sure to subscribe.